everybody. Real quick, so Zach's not clearing, so he's out. Ruckert won't clear, he's out. Obviously, Aaron's out. And then Dwayne Brown, we're putting him through some work today. You'll see it did not participate. And then same thing with Greg Zerline. He came out of the game, with some right quad soreness. So we'll see how he turns out today.
So you guys have a kicker to be safe for you?
We'll see. I'll talk with Joe about it. We'll see how today goes.
Just looking back on Simeon and how he did, and his readiness for coming in on a short week against obviously a really good defense.
Yeah, Trev did some nice things in the game, and he's got so much playtime under his belt. It was great just to have conversation with him and his recognition that he could have even done better. And so obviously it is a short week, but he'll prepare the way he needs to.
Do you think Zach will be back for the finale, or?
We'll see. The most important thing is for him to get rid of all these symptoms and progress. That's first and foremost, obviously.
Robert Aaron did his McAfee show about an hour ago. He said his desire was to stay on IR. He was overruled by the Jets. I don't think he said exactly who to activate it for practice. Can you kind of just clarify?
Yeah, that was Joe and I. He expressed concern about taking up someone's roster spot and all that stuff and what it meant. But like I told you guys, we had roster flexibility just like we told him, and we had the ability to do it, and so we did it.
Did that show a little bit of an unselfish? He's being portrayed as kind of a guy that is selfish and an attention grabber. What did that tell you when he didn't want to come on?
It didn't tell me anything. I feel like I've sat up here a lot, in terms of just trying to. There's a narrative about him and from an outside world, but internally, he's one of the more thoughtful human beings I've been around, by far.
Why did you guys feel the need then, if the player didn't really wasn't pushing for it?
Well, his heart was in the right spot, but at the same time, when it's still for Joe and I, will always do what we feel is best for the organization, and having him around is a plus. Having him on the practice field, he loves the practice field, so having him out there, his juice, his energy. Shoot, even Friday, leading up into the Washington game, running all the scout team reps and all the smack talk with the defense, and the defense got into it, and it was just a positive, net positive for us.
Robert, Joe Flacco said that you guys never called him at the beginning of the season when Aaron went down. What was the thought process behind not bringing him back, especially with familiarity there?
Like we said, we love Joe first and foremost. Obviously, he spent a couple of years with him. Love him, love the way he prepares. Really pumped for him and the success he's having. But it's just a decision we made in terms of the quarterback room and the way we developed it over the course of OTAs and training camp, and it was just a decision we made.
Was he in the conversation at all when you were pivoting from Aaron between you and Joe?
Yeah, there's always going to be discussions. There was a bunch of guys that we talked about.
I mean, was he specifically part of that conversation, or was that just not a fit in your guys' eyes?
Yeah, for sure. I don't want to speak for Joe D on this one, but yeah, Joe Flacco has a soft spot with all of us.
How impressive is, I know you talked about it yesterday in the call, but what he's doing with Cleveland right now?
No, it's been great. He's his Amari is making him we always joke around, just make the quarterback a hero, and Amari's playing some great football. The run game, the O-line, defense is getting him the ball, and with each passing week, he's getting more and more confident. The team is getting more and more confident, and they're starting to hit stride at the perfect time. So they're galvanizing around it, and you can see it on tape.
Robert, obviously it's hindsight, but when you look at the way Joe has performed and obviously come off the couch, so to speak, is there any regret that maybe you didn't take a closer look at that, and because the fact that he's been in here and knows this place, even though it's not PAC system?
No, never regret, because like I said, you always go into things with what you hope being a sound decision. You can the biggest thing is to reflect upon those decisions and to see what we could have done better as a coaching staff, as an organization. But every decision we make feel like it comes with deep thought and logic, and but no, there's no regret there.
But when you're watching him slinging around like that, it's kind of difficult to wonder what if, I suppose.
No, I don't think I ever let myself go there, but it is pumped to just watch him. I am pumped to watch him play. It is fun for any guy that you've gotten an opportunity to coach and be around to have success, and he's definitely having it right now.
Do you ever look at a team like Cleveland, and I know you always scout yourselves and self-scout, but when you look at what they've been through, it's not entirely the same, but they're also on their fourth quarterback, yet they've had some success. Do you see what they're doing and try to apply that maybe next year or something like that?
Yeah, you're always going to study all of that stuff, and they're doing a really nice job defensively. They're playing at an elite level, very very similar. Special teams are doing very well, and but for sure we'll definitely look at some things in areas where we can be better. So if in the event this happens again, we can keep the boat above water and kind of replicate what they're doing.
What's been the key for them defensively, Robert?
They play their front four, just like it's a lot of parallels to us. Their front four gets after it. Myles Garrett is as good as anybody in football. Zadarius is having a really nice year. Coach Schwartz does as good a job as anybody in terms of game planning and mixing up his coverages and having the perfect balance of coverage, bring the house. And making you very uncomfortable, not only as a play caller but as players, because you're never quite sure. But they're doing a really nice job. They're playing fast. They're opportunistic, and they've had some games where they've just absolutely abused people. So it's going to be a challenge.
You guys gave Izzy some more touches this last game. What did he show you?
Oh, he's got juice, man. I don't want to call it fresh legs because that'd be doing him a disservice, but we know from training camp and just the overall draft process, his GPS speeds hang around 4.3, 4.2, so he's got all the same juice as a guy like Brees. So to get him out on the perimeter and to see him have some of those NFL runs where he lowered that near shoulder and finished off his runs the way he needed to, I thought he did a really nice job.
What's the challenge for Brees against that defense after what he just put together?
There's going to be a lack of space, that's for darn sure. But it's going to be gritty, it's going to be grimy, and it's just having the same mentality that he's taken over the last few weeks of finding every yard he can and guys being efficient, communicating, and being violent. Do you have to be a little bit more creative about how you use him? How Mac uses him? With all our guys, you can include Garrett, Conk, and Xavier Gibson. I feel like, obviously the Miami game didn't go very well, but felt like the offensive staff and the players have kind of hit their stride with regards to trying to find ways to get the ball to the playmakers and playmakers in space. So there's, we'll find some ways to get it done.
Has Zach been coming in like today and yesterday, like just to do meeting stuff and non-football stuff?
Yeah, he's been in the building.
With Elijah Moore, there was so much excitement here when you guys drafted him that first summer. Why do you think it didn't work out here?
Probably another conversation for another day, but again, it's I'm pumped for him too. He's over there and doing a lot of really nice things, and he's been getting the jet sweeps. He's lining up at the running back position. He's been effective as a receiver, and knock on wood for him, he's been healthy, and but he's been doing a nice job.
What kind of season is
Sauce, I think he's doing a really nice job. He's I think he'll be the first to say that when they throw the ball his way, when they do, he's got to go take it. But the challenge for him is going to be to stay locked in, and he is. I want to make sure I say this because the way he approaches practice, games, and all that stuff, meetings, he's very deliberate. He's very locked in. He's very focused, and I compare it to Sherm when we coach Richard Sherman. You can get bored out there when teams are just deliberately trying to avoid you, and so he's locked down that left side of the field, and he's earned that right.
I know it's just a follow on that, if I could, just with Sauce. I mean, I know you guys don't travel, but when you got a guy like Amare putting up the numbers you did the other day, is there a thought to potentially think about doing something like that?
We have been. It's a fair it's a good question, and we have done that. I think we did it last week some with McLaurin. You know, and so there's going to be opportunities, and but like I said, it's not a stubbornness. You know, it's a whole philosophy and a whole global thinking with regards to all 11. But when we can, we've shown that we will.
Good chance this week.
Possible, sure. Thanks, guys.